Grease 2 is absolutely not what I expected. I genuinely thought I would watch this and hate every second of it. It would be a cheesy gimmick. But actually, it's not bad. Now, I'm not going to say that it was amazing or that it was the best film I've ever seen. That would be bending the truth quite a bit. But it wasn't terrible. And there were some surprises in it with regards to certain cast members from the first film who had decided to stay on for the sequel. There will be some small spoilers in this with regards to those cast members and certain other aspects of the film, but I won't spoil the overall story narrative development. So, this sequel was released in 1982, and this is directed by Patricia Birch, written by Ken Finkelman, and this is set, I believe, 2 or 3 years after the end of the first Grease film. And we are back at Rydell High. We have some new T-Birds and Pink Ladies. I do have a question. How do you become a Pink Lady? Because these Pink Ladies and T-Birds are in their final year of high school. So once Frenchie and Jan and Rizzo and Sandy, etc., all left, do we just get new Pink Ladies in the final year? But these Pink Ladies had definitely been Pink Ladies the year before. So how do you become a Pink Lady, and when do you become a Pink Lady? I'd love to know the answer to that question because they always just seem to be in their last year of high school and there are no younger Pink Ladies. Although that is an exception here, which I thought was a particularly weird, very weird character decision, but I'll talk about her in a moment. In this film, we have, as I said, new Pink Ladies and new T-Birds. It's basically about their relationships and, the usual high school problems of not sure what they want to be when they're growing up, not sure what kind of relationship they want to be in, all of the usual things we found in Grease. The main difference, of course, is that we don't have Danny and Sandy. It's not really focusing on them. Although Sandy is mentioned, but we do have a kind of similar narrative of a girl and a boy. Will they, won't they? Should they be together or are they polar opposites? It's kind of flipped here a little bit because this time round we have our leading lady, Michelle Pfeiffer, who plays a character called Stephanie, who is the leader of the Pink Ladies, and I wouldn't say that she's quite as much of a bad girl as Danny Zuko was a bad boy with regards to motorcycles and smoking and all of these things that make him seem hip and cool, if you like. But she's certainly the bad influence compared to Michael Carrington, who is played by Maxwell Caulfield, and he is actually an English exchange student at Rydell, and he is Sandy's cousin. So that is how that is tied in right there. Pretty forced way of tying Sandy into this film, but it works. It's not a problem. And obviously, straight away, he looks at Stephanie with a little bit of admiration, but he's not a T-Bird. Should he try and become a T-Bird? Should he try and convince Stephanie that Pink Ladies don't need to be with T-Birds? There are a whole lot of different ways that this film could go, and I'm not going to say which way it goes, but I'll say it worked. It worked quite well. I have no issues with the development of the narrative. It made sense. It felt less forced than Grease. I've mentioned before that Grease I'm kind of fed up with because I've seen it so many times. I was obsessed with it growing up. But when I look at it now, I can see that there are a lot of problems, particularly with the treatment of the female characters in Grease, and Sandy having to change her entire identity just to be with a boy. Let's not go there. I would say that this narrative of Grease 2 is less problematic than Grease, but it's still not, perfect. And not even insofar as it being a product of its time. I just think some of the representations of certain characters are a little bit questionable, but not as bad as Grease. So the narrative is pretty much what I expected, but a little bit more enjoyable. What I loved, before I talk about the characters, I actually really thoroughly enjoyed the music. I thought the choreography was really good. The songs were really engaging. It starts off with Back to School Again, which is actually pretty really entertaining, and I liked it. It's quite a big number with a lot of dancers in it, and I thought the choreography was great. There wasn't really a song in this that I thought would be good enough to stand up to the song quality of Grease. Obviously, the Grease soundtrack is massively iconic, but they were enjoyable and I liked them. I can't really fault them. The choreography was very good, the costumes were great, the set designs were fine. The casting, obviously really good. The characters are interesting. So we have some characters from Greece that have come back, and the one that kind of surprised me the most was Frenchie. For somebody who dropped out of high school and then dropped out of beauty school, it's quite admirable to see her coming back to Rydell to get her chemistry, as she says, so that she can go and mix her own cosmetics. You know, she's got dreams and aspirations, and I think that's brilliant. Go for it. And I've always liked Frenchie. We also have Principal McGee, Eve Arden. Absolutely love her. We have Coach Calhoun. Eugene's back. Really, really, nice little nods to the previous film. There were other characters I would have liked them to have brought back, but I think it worked pretty well. The main characters of the T-Birds and the Pink Ladies, the T-Birds I felt like were just carbon copies of each other. I didn't really care, but the Pink Ladies definitely have standout personalities. Aside from Stephanie, we have Sharon, Paulette, Rhonda, and Dolores. And Dolores is Paulette's younger sister, and she's basically just being like a personal slave to Paulette, with the hope that she will become a proper Pink Lady. She's kind of like an honorary Pink Lady, and she is younger. She said something about when she's in the 12th grade, she will XYZ. So she's at least 11th grade or younger. I don't exactly know how old that is because I'm in the UK and it's a different system, but just for context. And that again made me question, well, how old is a Pink Lady? Are they always the final year of high school, and then when they drop off, do new cohorts take over? I don't know. I'd be curious to know, but I feel like it's a plot hole that nobody else cares about, but I really want answers for. But I found that character to be quite creepy. Brilliantly acted, played by Pamela Segal. I thought she was a very engaging character, very mesmerizing almost. She was, for me, a bit of a scene stealer because she was obviously out of place with the other Pink Ladies, but obviously given her age, or the age of the character, it just felt a little bit weird. So very interesting decision to put that character in there, but I guess it helped mix it up from the original film. So Grease 2 is a very pleasant surprise. Again, I'm not going to say that it's this amazing, brilliant film that will withstand the test of time and that everybody should go and see, but if you've been looking at it thinking, nah, it's not going to be any good, give it a chance. If you like musicals, I think you'll like it. Certainly if you like Grease and you like musicals. If you don't like Grease, you won't like it. If you don't like musicals, you won't like it. But if there's a chance that you may engage with it, give it a go. It's definitely nowhere near as bad as I expected.